But I remember when we first came in, and Scott goes, "It's the moment we find Ryan, this town is going to see nothing but my taillights. I will never step another foot back here." And we thought, okay, fair enough. That makes sense. This is where, we lost the brightest light in our family. And I get that. And yet, within minutes, we kept getting notifications from our friends and our family saying, "Here, what do you need from us? What do you need?" And then, we were in this town, and the people within those first seconds were, what can we do to help? Let us get you here. Let's do this. And I think that changed our whole outlook on everything. And we said in that moment to ourselves that we would try to find the silver linings. Because if we did not, then what it did was, we always thought Ryan's life was a gift to us. And to think of it any other way and not look for that, it just diminished what he meant to us. And we couldn't let that happen. And so we tried to look for the silver linings. And I think when you adopt that, or you can, and we're talking about the most difficult situation, so I'm not saying it's easy, but the silver lining came from the fact that we had such community support, that we were cared for and loved for by, the community of Beaumont, where we came from, Kamloops and Whitecroft and Sun Peaks, across the world, across Canada, this love and support. And so for us, it was easier when you started having that, and you knew that on the days that we couldn't stand, that there'd be somebody behind you that was going to help you get to that position. And so that really meant a lot. And I think then you start looking at all of and I think it soothes you, that mental part of it. And also when Danielle, when we had her for grief therapy, it was after the phone call, and of course I'm devastated. I'm now thinking about all these horrific things. Who would be this cruel? Because then you think somebody must have been responsible for Ryan's disappearance, and then they sent this to further taunt. And I remember her coming in, and she's like, "You can only stick with the facts. You knew Ryan was here, and then he wasn't, and we don't know whether he went willingly or unwillingly or unknowingly. But Ryan was no longer where he was supposed to be, and he didn't come home, and then we have him as a disappearance." And so she's like, the challenge is that you think about all the things that could have happened to him, then you start viewing the world through that same lens. So if I thought that somebody had done something horrific to Ryan, I would be constantly, without knowing anything, I could be looking out at the world going, "Was it you? Was it you? Yeah. Was it you?" And I didn't want to do that. I thought I will face that in the moment, that if I were to find out tomorrow that somebody was responsible for Ryan's disappearance, you never have to worry if I'm going to be angry, or if I'm not going to be able to accept it. We've been prepared for this for a long time. But I think that helped with our mental health, is to stick with the facts that we knew and to look for the silver linings. And then on top of that, for me, that ability to sit there and go, if Ryan was able to come back and see what people have done in his name in the last 7 years, he would. And if I could trade places with him, I would in a heartbeat, as would any other parent, I'm sure. But neither of those gifts are going to be given to us. And so I never want to meet my son one day, and I believe I will in some form or fashion, and have him be so disappointed in me and say, "You squandered what I would have hoarded. I would have come back. I would have breathed deeply. I would have loved more. I would have appreciated the life. And you had it, and you chose to squander it on grief alone." And I thought, that is not what we're going to do. So we're going to find a way to survive. And hopefully along the way, we'll find a way to thrive. And I think part of that was finding some sort of purpose, because there's no reason for Ryan to have gone missing. But maybe there's a purpose that can come from it. And that would be advocating for other families, right? So for us, that was it. The communication piece takes a big thing in mental health as well. And we thought our girls had lost so much that it was important for us to make sure that We didn't actively participate in them losing more.